don't remember what you did for them. They remember how you made them feel. A quote by one of the greatest creators of all time, Maya Angelou. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Black Unique Creative Council of South Africa, a non-profit organization that's one of the top 100 organizations in the country, recognized by the NYS. And we're here to present you a problem. But before I begin and proceed with my presentation, I'd like to give an introduction of who I am and what I do. So my name is Kopano Podisa. You can call me Sky or Biko. I'm a designer, creative, futurist, all-round entrepreneur, award-winning business owner of a company called Natural Collectivity. And I forgot my displays, but I do 3D designing and printing, and I do have them. But if you guys are not in a rush, I can show you some examples of some of the stuff that we do. So as a digital entrepreneur that's been pioneering in the creative technology space, I actually do have experience in terms of all the stuff that I've been doing. So the company actually has won awards both locally and internationally. That's Natural Collectivity. But I'm the brainchild behind Black Unique Creative Council of South Africa, which is I'm going to be breaking into much more clear as I go on forward. So as a leader, as myself, I've actually been representing my community in the legislature, and I've actually been involved in the community projects. I've actually won awards in the sporting space. I'm an athlete. I'm actually a very active individual that likes to do a lot of stuff, right? So the problem that I'm here to present to you today is that as a creative, it's hard to navigate throughout the industry. It's hard for you to become established because there's no formal structure, there's no unity, there's no conducive environment for the creatives. And that contributes to low self-esteem, inability to become productive and be able to create as much opportunity as one creative artist can do. So us as the Black Unique Creative Council of South Africa, we provide the support that they need by offering the tools and the resources, assisting with the management, giving them the access, the representation, by creating that community, that hub where they can be able to engage with one another, be involved in the industry and know how the process goes. So why does the Black Unique Creative Council of South Africa exist? So we exist to connect creatives with one another because in society as a whole, creatives are seen as the black sheep and are not able to be felt in a space of belonging and they not come recognized, even though they are the one of the people that make the people feel so inspired and happy because of how we feel, literally stays more longer than what has been done for us. So we aim to become a community for creatives, a hub, a village. We aim to help artists make an income. We want to provide transparency, accountability, and a voice, because that's what's missing in the industry as a whole, because of the creative artists can't navigate through the industry, even though they do have the skills that are needed, they're just not able to make the most of it. So our mission is to see artists live off the art, for the artistic effort to feed families, to make positive contributions to society. So as I've mentioned, we are a community of creatives. We have a national creatives from all over the country, and it's still growing also globally as well. So our key products and services that we offer to the creatives and the developing artists is that we offer assistance with administration, networking, marketing, collaborations as well, because they're able to connect with the industries that are also interconnected in some ways, because the creative industry, we need to be united, kind of like all the other industries are united, but we don't have that kind of space for creatives. Right, so going in detail in terms of what we actually offer, the key components, in terms of administration and entrepreneurs, that there's different processes and protocols that people have to go, and they're not going to be the same as conventional business because as an entrepreneur, you're more focusing on the intellectual property, the brand, instead of just products and services, and it's more intangible. Therefore, it's kind of harder to navigate in that space because now people are expecting to see something physically. For an example would be like music. You can't really sell that music, you can't really put a price on it because we behave in an industry where now there needs to be a tangible supply chain and be able to measure all those things. So it's kind of hard for artists to be able to know that. So a good example of what we do is that in our key customer profiles, there's usually two kinds of creatives. There's the developing artist and there's the creative entrepreneur. The developing artist is seeking to establish themselves and their skill and be able to be recognized and have the opportunities to showcase the work. Then there's the creative entrepreneur who already has the talent and skills but wants to offer those services or products depending on how they've positioned it and be able to create income for themselves without having to depend on a third party, kind of like how the developing artists would. So an interesting example that we've done of the people we help, her name is actually Valencia. She's actually from the VAR, and she's actually a writer and a photographer. So before she was on the program, she just had a book she couldn't complete. She didn't know how to continue with it. But since then, she was able to interact with creatives who are in her industry. She was able to be part of a program that was offered through the access of our network. She was able to now have work experience and a portfolio, and she's most recently has her own cosmetic brand, which allow her to be able to make her own income and be able to have a sustainable revenue. So in terms of the market industry, the creative industry contributes to around 3% of the GDP, And it's actually reported by the Cultural Times in 2015. It was a global survey that was done, and it employs 1% of the whole entire working age population. And what's interesting about that, that's roughly around 30 million jobs, and that's almost around half of the whole entire South African population. So it's nice about the industry. There's no shortage of ideas and talent. It's the execution and the ability to reach the relevant people in those spaces. So that's the kind of the situation we're trying to close. Those are the gaps. And it's actually been a good, interesting rate because it's actually improving, especially with the digital means, in terms of all the opportunities that are actually growing and actually becoming more prevalent due to all the opportunities that exist. So I would say our competition would be the formal institutions because they do offer the administration and support. It's just that they take too long, and some of the information, they get outdated by the time that they're ready to do the work. And they're only structuring them in a position to get employed. They're not able to stand alone and be able to make a difference. And not mentioning that they're outside of the community. They have to move outside of the spaces, and not mentioning the fees as well. So the only, I'd say, company that's actually doing amazing, it's SACII, because they actually offer well-being support. They're doing amazing work because they do one-on-ones and they work in the context of that. So they are relevant. They're up to date, unlike the other traditional institutions that just only focus on getting people to be employed. In this economic climate, that's not really the best way to move forward. So real-time, practical worldview and participation. So in terms of the history of the stuff that we do is that already as it stands, we have a platform that has engaged over 200 creators one another, and also more on other platforms, and able to engage. We're able to create abandoned buildings into outdoor facilities where they can engage, use it as showcase, and we're able to create mental health month awareness. October was mental health awareness month, but we're creating a lifestyle so they can take care of themselves, because once you feel good, you're able to do good, and you're able to increase your self-worth and your ability to produce amazing work. So we have a national database of creatives, still growing also globally and continentally as well. So in terms of like how we aim to make a profit is by, okay, these are some of the people that worked with before, but can I just go back to that after? I just want to just show the revenue model in terms of how we're able to make the money as ourselves independently, besides other partners as well. So we aim on offering an annual affiliation fee for a period of 12 months, but offer all these services in periods where they know how they can actually go about it. We also aim on actually hosting events, but not on our own self, because there's already companies and organizations that want to reach certain targets and have a specific demographic audience. So we aim to reach that by already creating the numbers that they need. So we can actually be able to make the best use of all the capital that they have in their budget by bringing all those targets to reach by creating all those people in one place. Also doing programs and projects depending on the kind of things that are done. So moving forward as well, that how we're able to operate is that this is how the process. So the creative and the artist will be introduced to what we do. We have full presentations in terms of how they can utilize all the resources and resources that are there and be able to be converted as a member for annual 12 months. Then you get orientated properly to understand, okay, this is how the process works, this is the induction, this is who you speak to, which department is available, because we do have a team already as we speak. This is actually some of the team that is there. Sorry, can I just skip along, because I'm not sure how much time that I have, but I'm actually going to go back. So we have a team already that's already has so much experience in their own portfolios. I actually have a member of mine right here. His actually name is Tepo. He's part of the BYCCOSA Business Network and also part of the change as well. So in terms of operations, how we're actually going to go about generating the revenues, that we're going to be creating networking sessions, presentation, call out to get the creatives to see their work and interact with it in real time and be able to get inspiration, collaborate, work with one another. And the sales strategy was that there's going to be a certain thing that you're able to get for free, but now to fully use all the resources, they're going to have that once-off annual fee and be able to access to all the things that are needed and be able to have outbound call centers where now, because we know creatives have different communication styles for different people, so we cater for that need to make sure that we can close those gaps that are there so we can maximize and reach our targets. So our phases is that we're planning on reaching at least around 15,000 creatives across the country, and our annual fee would be around 150. So our profit would be around 2,250,000 in the first day if we reach all of our targets, and we're able to close all the cost of production from the operational spaces, the facility, the equipment, the salaries, and all the people. So these are the stages of how we go about it. But the first thing we want to do is just set up our own space, our operational facility. Then the second phase would now be account managing of each creative, each creative enterprise, depending on the needs of the creative that we're serving. We're able to manage that and make sure they get the full value and keep on being involved for the years to come. So So these are the key people that will actually help us. So as the executive, we're making sure that we operate in terms of all the necessary tools that are needed for the creatives. And there's going to be a department that's fully dedicated to events. So they make sure that they are in contact and up to date about all the events that are happening and get that integration, that recruitment, and also to get people informed. Because some artists want to be informed, but they don't know where to go because there's no structure. I've mentioned that that's all a pain point, and not able to interact and participate. There's also a department that deals with assessing and actually finding the needs assessment for what they need. So our projections, okay.
We'll give you a minute just to finish this.
Oh yeah, so our projections would actually mean in the first year, once we reach our targets, we're actually going to be able to make 115,000 minus the cost of sales of our operations. So within the second year, we'll be able to cover more of the costs, because what some of our costs are recurring. So we're going to be able to cover a lot more, and the how can I mention this? The returns will be high. So what we're basically asking for, if it's not too much of a problem, would be around 2,135,000 just to cover the operational cost, and be able to get 7% equity, and also be able to get a cut of the profits, and be able to utilize our network in ways that you feel fit for your organizations and your interest as well. So yeah.
Okay. So you're asking for?
2,130,000.
That is to run operations and get the. All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I need to
Okay.
Kopano, is this an online platform?
Well, we're currently running digital, but we aim to have a physical facility
So
where
it's
people can come.
hybrid. The services
hybrid,
are
yes.
hybrid.
Yes.
Because I think all the things you're talking about would be cheaper to do and more efficient to do via an online platform. You don't need a call center if you have an online platform, because people are logging in and you at the back end.
Okay.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, makes sense.
And it doesn't mean you still don't have physical events and physical things, but you centralize it off an online platform.
Yes.
It is you've actually described a platform model without saying that it's a platform model.
Oh yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that would be a suggestion. And then my other question is, why a non-profit?
Because of what happens is that because already what happens is that we do know how to make profit and money already amongst ourselves. So we want to make it accommodating, because other people, when they see, it's a private company, I want to be involved with that or whatever. So therefore it's more of an organized, centralized space where it's not only for private people, so it's independent creatives coming together. So that they're still able to utilize the resources, but be able to also have their own sort of esteem or brand value in their own way, so that they're not limited in any particular way. Because when people, there's a stigma associated with how the industry is run, especially as creatives, you're always like, they them. Now it's for the creatives as a whole community, where no one feel like it's stakeholders, everyone is involved. You see, so now it's crazy. What's interesting is that we aiming for that whole people for the people. So people have their own ways. When you run projects, they can have an equity or percentage in terms of running those projects and those programs. But it's a space where they can be able to be informed and be able to believe in it with or without, because not always going to be a fun time. We understand that, but with the people involved, we people-centered.
All right. So you could think about having more than one structure. That's something we can work with you. I'll speak to SIPO, where you've got for-profit and non-profit and different. If you use a social enterprise model, you can use both for-profit and non-profit structures and manage different things from different entities. That's what we do with SACII. So we've got a for-profit, non-profit, we've got trust structures, different things. Because in the arts, you can access a lot of funding that is grant funding, but you need the non-profit structure. So the type of work you're doing, but that's a conversation that I'll ask the coaches to have with you. And then just one more, just a general comment on the pitch. I think you need to bring up the model, the revenue model, and what you're doing there right up higher. So it's quite repetitive of the services for several slides. You can cut that to one and go to the value what value are you bringing to the sector? What value are they bringing to the artists? And who is your target market? Because,
Okay.
All right, but you're on the right track. For a first pitch, first idea, well done. I would just maybe take 3 of those slides out that were around the what that you
Also, I don't have to
and-
fill everything.
No, and come to high level and just say, this is the need. That was great, starting with a problem. Here's a solution. This is the need. This is who we're targeting. This is where they are and how many there are. This is the value that we bring that doesn't currently exist. Because what you are bringing something that is not really being done. Yeah. And if you did this with technology, it's gonna be. Then you're not limited to 15,000. You can have 100,000 from anywhere on the continent on your platform.
Yeah. I
doing your
definitely
services.
I
See.
definitely
All right, enough from me because Tremaine's given me 5 evil eyes already.
I think you have touched on a lot of the points that I've raised. I think you're a fantastic individual. I think that you are trying just to tell us too much in a very short amount of time. It seemed very rushed, but I like your business. I think if we could also just bring in the sort of link between how the funding that you are applying for, how that would impact the business, so we can sort of see it's going to scale it this way in terms of it will just give an investor more confidence. And just more insight into where your sort of mind is at and how you're trying to move the business forward.
Okay, peace. Oh, okay. Yeah. Kinda there and there, creative and everything.